Thank you so much, Herr von Winterstein, for the friendly words. Dear Federal Constitutional Court Judge, Professor Paulus, dear Chair of the Professor Dose, Professor Arai, Herr Exler-König, and dear Mr. Lipp, ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues. First of all, let me welcome all of you most warmly, also on behalf of the Federal Ministry for Family, Senior Citizens, Women and Youth. That is on behalf of Federal Minister Manuela Schwesig, who has taken on the auspices for the 1st World Congress on adult guardianship. She's happy to co-chair it. She's regretting that she can't attend herself here. Self-determination and participation is part of a humane, of a dignified life until the highest age. Those that are legal representatives for others assume a responsible task. Legal representation ensures that people, despite an illness or a disability, can participate and can exercise their rights. Maybe some of you have read the quotation of the minister regarding the World Congress. It underlines why we too at the Federal Ministry for Family, Seniors, Women and Youth welcome very much that this 4th World Congress offers all of us together the opportunity to address a broad expert audience, but also affected persons and their families, and draw their attention to the opportunities of legal representation as participation and a matter of adult protection. I'm happy that here I can welcome over 400 experts from adult guardianship law from 30 countries. That's quite a significant number, and from all 5 continents indeed. The guidelines of self-determination and individual and person-centered support, but also welfare and care and the permanent further development have been a joint concern of all the previous World Congresses. That is why we're utterly happy that following Japan, Professor Arai, 2010, Australia, and then the US, this year, the 4th World Congress is held in Germany from 14th to 17th September 2016. And given this wonderful weather, that doesn't go without saying. The Congress is also under the auspices of the Federal Minister of Justice and for Consumer Protection, Heiko Maas. And this cooperation shows the good cooperation between the two ministries, between the two ministers in particular. And it is organized by the Betreuungsrecht e.V. in cooperation with the International Guardianship Network and is supported by an international advisory committee. All those cooperating here, let me thank all of you from here right now. All of you have made it possible that this 4th World Congress can be opened here at the Bildungsstätte Erkner near Berlin. In Germany, incapacitation and the old concept of guardianship, as well as curatorship for adults, were abolished some 20 years ago, and that was replaced by enduring powers and by Betreuung. However, there are still fears amongst those directly affected, and likewise amongst their relatives, against fears from such legal representation. These have to be removed, and the 4th World Congress contributes significantly along those lines. That is why, in the run-up campaign, Don't Be Scared of Legal Representation was supported by us, and also the project poster contest. And 9 winners on Friday noon are being introduced by the head of my sub-department, Barbara Wuster. Legal representation, the practical implementation, concerns all of us at some point, maybe even personally. Currently, you know the global figures currently in Germany. It is specifically about securing the self-determination and the interests of some 1.3 million people and their family members, and roughly double this figure of those with a living will. That is to say, we know that these needs and these numbers will grow in an aging society such as Germany, But also, I mean, I look around, I look to Japan, for instance. But also on a global scale, these figures will grow swiftly. By the year 2050, for the first time, worldwide, we will have more older people than children under the age of 15. This is found and was found by Special Ambassador, Special Envoy for Kornfeld Matter for the United Nations in a report on the human rights of the elderly. Today, she is introducing that in Geneva to the 33rd Human Rights Council, and in Germany we will actively participate in the discussion and promulgation of that report. The share of elder people keeps picking up in Germany as well. The over 67-year-olds by 2030 will rise to almost 1/3. And this way, ladies and gentlemen, the face of the society will change. The share of the over 80-year-olds on the entire population will rise from 5.4% in 2013, that is 3 years ago, to 7.7% by 2030. Like I said, the share of those over 80. According to current estimates of the Federal Statistics Office in Germany, by 2050, it will be 9.9 million people. How to age well with support will play a more and more important role for all of us, for politics, for jurisdiction, and for society as a whole. Presently, we assume that by the year 2050, those dementia illnesses will rise from 47 million to about 140 million. It might triple, and that people with dementia in Germany, presumably, will increase in numbers from the present 1.6 million to about 3 million, though it will double, unless the blockbuster were to be invented as a panacea in the interim. 2/3 of Alzheimer patients in Germany are over the age of 80. And that is a huge challenge, not least for the law of adult guardianship. The UN Disability Rights Convention clearly indicates that people with dementia, likewise, to stick to that group as an example, but that likewise applies to people with other needs for support and care, so that they shall stay in the midst of the community and lead a self-determined life as good as possible, that they feel accepted and they may rely on support in line with their needs. That is our objective. That is important. With the ratification of the UN Convention for the Rights of Disabilities, we have committed to the role model of inclusion, and this includes the protection and the support of families. And such family members that look after people with disabilities or with impairments and who have resulting need for help. Our societies, accordingly, also in the future, will depend on a growing number of sufficiently qualified volunteer, but also professional legal representatives of adults. The support of the volunteers, the persons that often the family members or friends and family from around the affected person, is very dear to our heart. Also, the volunteer persons need good qualification that those concerned can rely on, will need to rely on. The volunteer persons need more and more well-available professional support, but on the other hand, though professional persons providing guardianship cannot do it on their own without the commitment of the volunteers. They can't master it alone. I'll compare it with care. We've got to have professional care likewise, but professional care also needs volunteer carers. So there is a similar thing. It can't do without them, because professional care, just in Germany, cannot meet the needs and necessities of people in need of care. That's clear to all of us. And that's why I believe that both these fields, Betreuung on the one hand and care on the other hand, are comparable under this aspect. This aspect, the so-called interfaces of legal representation, are of particular interest to us in the Federal Family Ministry, not least with a view to the ongoing further development of the UN Convention for the Rights of Disabled Persons, to further develop the Betreuung, the law of Betreuung, where the Federal Ministry of Justice and Consumer Protection takes the lead in this country. Now, over the next few days, we have the opportunity to exchange internationally on concepts and practice of the protection of adults with needs. And we have the opportunity to present and discuss developments and progresses. And we have the opportunity to formulate legal and social policy objectives in a final declaration, and we have the opportunity to further cooperate in incapacitation and paternalism being replaced by autonomy, self-determination, and participation, and that adult law, in particular for the elderly, be developed further and be expanded. All these are important opportunities and targets of the next 3 or 4 days. I wish this 4th World Congress all success along those lines, and to you, enjoy the Spree River cruise. It will be worth its while. Thank you so much.